Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, better known as the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, to the one-third and the 144,000, our fellow laborers as well, and death to two-thirds and all the wicked. This is Judges 5 and 11, and just read this. Let me just read this first. It says, "They that are delivered from the noise of the archers." That's the noise of the archers is talking about the missiles. Okay, when a city is under siege, um, they'll try long range attacks first. Okay, before they send people in for the close combat, and that's what we're gonna see here in America is missile attacks, bombing attacks. Okay, that's what these other countries are gonna use to attack this place. Okay, it says in the places of drawing water. When you are a person who's drawing water, you're a slave, you're an employee, okay, and you're drawing water for the animals and for your master. Basically, you're bringing water to him. Okay, so America is a main place for drawing water. Okay, you look and you see wherever the Negro, Latino, North American Indian people are, uh, that's a place of drawing water. Okay, because we're not able to um, make changes in this world. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man, he calls the shots and he orchestrates everything. And if you work outside of his plan, he removes you, he destroys you. Okay? So they that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, of Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. Okay, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is for the portion of rehearsal, because for many of us and new guys, it doesn't matter how long you've been in this thing. When you feel like, okay, I've been in here, I'm doing this thing, now what? The answer to that is rehearse, apply. Rehearse and apply, rehearse and apply. So when you read these scriptures, okay, however small of a scenario you think it is, there's a bigger concept behind it. Okay, and so for example, you know, if you don't if you don't if you don't take heed, okay? If you don't take heed to these words, then that's on you, but it shows that you're not rehearsing. Okay, so here's the example in Ezekiel where it talks about and speaks on, you see something and you warn the people, right? You warn the people, okay? So like it. So like it. So like it, brothers, man. I'm over here on the side of the camp right now and just watching the brothers. But yeah, so the example for application, right? You read in Ezekiel how you need to warn the people so that the blood is off of your hands, right? So that's why we go out and we teach. But that scenario and that situation, it still applies, amongst yourselves and amongst brothers, it still applies. If you see something, if you see danger, right, and you don't say nothing, then you're guilty of that demise because you didn't warn the people, so the blood is on your hands. And so that's what I'm getting at is the rehearsal of things, the application, okay? The rehearsal and the application is far more important, okay, than just learning it without it. It's very, you can know of something, that's great. You've read it, okay, that's great. But it means nothing without the application. Okay? And there's plenty of other scriptures like that where you need to find and you need to look, okay? And be open minded when a brother comes and tells you, hey, look, you can't think like that. Okay? When a brother is telling you, you can't think like that, don't get upset, which naturally is going to happen. But you need to quell those emotions and be more logical rather than in your feelings, you know? And brothers need to really let go of these old habits and mannerisms and phrases that like to be carried around. One of them being like, well, you know how Jake is. I personally feel like that's a cop out to ever say that on behalf of a brother. You know how Jake is. No, I know how 2/3 are. I don't understand how a brother shouldn't be like that. I understand 2/3 being like that. I don't understand a brother acting like that. So that whole how Jake is and no, that doesn't work. Is that man even rehearsing these scriptures, or he's just standing out there in a garment looking cool and saying shalom to the camera for the photos and and the WhatsApps and the Marco Polos. But other than, what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is all that? We're supposed to be rehearsing the righteous acts of the Most High, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his village. And so now let's look these up a little bit, okay? This is the word for uh, uh toward the inhabitants of his villages. Okay, so you see the usage. It says rural population, rustics, rural people, people of unwalled villages. The meaning is dubious. Okay, I mean there's multiple meanings, but here's the definition. It says a magistracy, i.e., ergo leadership. Also, concretely, chieftains, village, rural domain. You see? So we're supposed to be rehearsing and applying these things. Why? Because we're judges, man. Okay? Brothers are supposed to be rehearsing to become and to be judges. You're judging scenarios constantly, right? And you're using judgment, mercy, and faith. Of course, you have to. You have to use those things. Judgment, mercy, and faith. Because it may not have been a brother's intention to do this one thing, but even though he did it. You see? And you got to be able to, that brother needs to be able to communicate, man. Communication skills is huge. As a leader of a village, as a chieftain, okay, rehearsing the righteous acts even towards the inhabitants means you know how to rule yourself well. Okay? Your moral character has to develop in this thing. Another word here is, or actually, let me go back and show rehearse, right? This word rehearse. It's used to recount, rehearse, or tell again. Now, in the definition, that's the usage. Now, the definition tells us to ascribe or praise, identical with or through the idea of attributing honor, celebrate, commemorate, also lament and rehearse. You see? So you're supposed to celebrate, rehearse, and do what's honorable. Okay, do what's honorable. Okay, so when you look up this word rehearse, um, it's different in the etymology. Okay, aharo, see hearse, meaning to say over again, repeat which has already been said or written, is from the middle 14th century in English sense of practice, a play or a part, etc. is from the 1570s. Related, rehearsed, and rehearsing. See? So this is where the 14th century meaning really comes into play. Meaning to say over again, repeat what has already been said or is written, okay? In the sense of practice of a play or a part, you see? So this rehearsal is something that we need to perfect even towards the righteous, and even towards the inhabitants of the village. The righteous acts of the Most High, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his village. So if you look up righteous acts, rightness, morally, virtue, you see? Morally and virtue, rectitude and right. So that's where the mindset needs to be. That's where the character needs to be. Okay? Shalom.